right now I'm able to balance aking responsibility as a breadwinner and also having more space for myself, for my wants, for my needs. And I went from that person na overwhelmed and always like living like wanting to have that complex na systems to now na I am choosing to feel more at ease. I'm choosing to simplify things, embody na, okay, being independent and strong doesn't mean that you have to do things alone.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing in an amazing client of mine to share her financial journey as a breadwinner, from being weighed down by her financial worries to now feeling more confident, clarified, and in control of her finances, where she's really now able to balance her being able to prioritize funding her own dreams while also providing for her family. And I just have a feeling that a lot of you will be so inspired by her journey and story. So allow me to welcome to the channel, Lex. Hello.
Hello! Hello,
Hello.
ang mga audience and fans ni Nico.
So yeah, I always love Lex's energy because every time we're in a coaching call, we're like, hey, or like kami gumagana with the hands.
May kamay yan lagi. Kasi ang dito ng screen kailangan mo yung animation mo.
May ganun. So yeah, I'm so happy you're here. And so walk us through your financial journey before we had our coaching together and how you're doing now when it comes to handling your finances.
I think I learned so much about money and its importance like early on. Because I do remember like as a child, I would do these tiny crafty things as I would sell it to my friends. Ganyan. Tapos like it's such a cute little thing to do as a child. And then it went on and then fast forward to high school and college, ang finances namin sa family wasn't that great. So, parang I also felt yung weight or yung pag-weigh down sa akin ng
Mm.
finances at the time. And so, starting college din, I started like buying and selling clothes online sa carousel. And for a time that I started selling mga food sa school, but such a short time kasi I couldn't, parang wala akong kapal na mukha to like sell and show my face like, hi guys, this is what I'm selling, give me your money. Anyway, but that yung efforts ko na in college was it helped me like go through college din kasi yun nga, like it's not all the time that I'm given allowances, so I had to provide my own din allowances at the time. And then after college, matik din talaga na ako yung naging breadwinner. And yeah, it was such a heavy thing for me at the time to carry the responsibility and role kasi I was just thinking na um yeah, I was expecting a different life for myself at the time, and I just felt so angry and resentful din sa role na yun. But it was something that I had to do. And parang nakakondition ako into thinking na when you're a breadwinner, you just have to grin and bear it. You just have to take things like a grain of salt. Parang you just have to live with the struggle, kumbaga. And like, yeah, I went on sa ganun na state, sa ganun na feelings of overwhelm. And parang ako din mismo, all of my efforts of trying to make sense of the finances, sige na rin ako gather ng mga information, sige ako gather ng strategies, and all of them like stacked up na, and I got to the point na parang I've done so many things, I've tried so many things, but nothing still makes sense yet, and I have this very scattered, very messy na financial system na, like, yeah, like I brought that to myself, then I got myself into that state of like overwhelm. And I do remember din yung first call pa lang with you na parang that was like a month earlier bago tayo officially like start dun sa ating coaching. And I remember saying that I wanted to have different financial systems for different parts or areas of my life. So there was yung pagiging breadwinner, for my freelancing, and for myself. Tapos parang I just need, parang in my head, like it has to be complex. It has to be this many of ano na naman of like strategies and systems. Like again, like overwhelming myself kasi yung parang naging nakasanayan kong state. And then like when I started working with you, parang okay, it's such a like flip for myself kasi I went from that person na overwhelmed and always like living like wanting to have that complex na systems to now na I am choosing to feel more at ease. I'm choosing to simplify things kasi it's possible pala. Yun, like I'm just so like shocked na parang palang ganun. And like nag-change din yung aking perspective on being a breadwinner of it to being so like weighed so heavy, such a struggle, such a pain to now na parang okay, I can fulfill my duties, my role and responsibilities with ease. And again, with simplicity and at the same time then having fun at it. Kasi that's something that I learned while working with you na oftentimes kasi when you're a breadwinner, you always prioritize other people. You kind of forget yourself in the process. And it was such a like shocking siya na question for me na when you first asked me, what do you want? Parang, oh nga, ano, like, what do I want? Napaisip tuloy ako. And that was just like the first call pa lang with you. Like, sobrang shocked ako na like, what do I want? Nga pala. Eventually, like, going through with all the sessions, I got clearer and clearer sa anong gusto ko for myself moving forward. And with that, parang longer term vision, with that goal in mind, it makes finances in talaga more fun and easy kasi nga you're looking forward for that thing in the future na okay, this is what I want for myself. It's now parang right now I'm able to balance aking responsibility as a breadwinner and also having more space for myself, for my wants, for my needs and whatever pa man yung gusto kong gawin in life na I think will, like nourish or enrich my life kumbaga. So, yeah, like long
Yeah.
story short.
Yeah, this is why I wanted you to come in because I feel like you are going to set out such a powerful message to every Filipino breadwinner there where you're like breaking the barrier, the misconception that like, oh, if you're a breadwinner, kailangan martir ka, kailangan you're always the last, kailangan naghihirap ka palagi so that you get to provide better for your family. But being able to balance your responsibilities, your role, and at the same time also learning to take care of yourself, that's really like such an important message because I really believe na parang there's so many ways to handle our finances, right? There's probably like 10,000 ways out there because I've tried a lot of them, right? Trial and error. If there's a way to keep it simple so that we could live our best lives, I'm gonna stick to that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be complicated, but if it's just gonna stress us out, overwhelm us, then why bother? Diba? So speaking of that, as a transition, like as a breadwinner, what do you think was like the biggest misconception that you wish that you just knew earlier when it comes to handling money?
Ooh. Well, aside sa, you feel like you have to prioritize someone else over yourself, na in reality nga, it's it's a lot more like healthy and better for yourself and for everyone else around you to prioritize yourself then. Kasi, especially in my case, and I'm a freelancer, and like same tayo ng nature ng work, it's service based. So ang puhunan mo talaga is yourself. So you have to take care of yourself then. And parang basically it's the money making machine is you and the person who's gonna manage the money is you. And so that's one part of it. Pero na-mention ko nga siya earlier, but another part of it that's really like shifted, I guess, while
Mm.
working with you was yung being a breadwinner, parang feeling mo you have to carry everything all alone. That was such a huge
Mm.
thing for me because I've been so hyper independent most of my life and I do struggle asking for help and receiving help, ganyan. And I feel like yung whole time like working with you was such a big practice then on me to trust other people, to trust you, your expertise. And uh yeah, like when you're a breadwinner, you always have people around you now willing man din magbigay ng support and uh, sometimes you don't even have to ask because they're gonna willingly give it to you. So what you have to do right now is just to receive their support, receive their
Mm.
help. So it's such a muscle then that you have to build in as a breadwinner. And yeah, that's something that I like was working through then while working with you. And there were so many instances then for me na I had to like be uncomfortable receiving and asking for help and you helped me din like tawag nito, like push through that discomfort like yung pag-hire ko nga dun sa tawag ito, pag-hire ko ng team member ko, like asking help from my partner din when it comes to renovations for ng house ng family ko, ganyan na thing. So just know na there are people out there who are going to help you, who are willing din to help you. And you're not alone, basically.
Yeah, yeah, because that I think that's a really good message to share also because sometimes we choose to carry it all on our own, right? We
Yeah.
choose to be like, no, I have to be the one, like everyone is out to like get me, and if I don't do this on my own, like who else will do it, and that's why we touched on the topic in one of our sessions was like, what if we redefine like being a strong independent woman,
Oh, I love that.
right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, ako before, I was like, oh, like I always like ate it up. Like when people said, na, oh, you're so strong, independent, ganyan, ganyan. Pero deep down, I was miserable and like crying inside, but I didn't know that, right? In front, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm such a workaholic, blah, blah, blah. Parang trying to put up this front. And so tell us about that. Like, how did that shift for you now that you see like there's a different version of you who can still be strong and independent, but it's on your terms?
Ah, teka. Strong and independent. Kasi, like, parang I wore it like a badge of honor or like
Mm.
pride for such a long time. And like, my friends know this na they haven't seen me cry. They don't see me be vulnerable for such a long time. Tapos parang in recent years lang yun. And tapos even until now nga again, I am trying to take like tangible steps to actually parang embody na, okay, being independent and strong doesn't mean that you have to do things alone. And it only means na may capabilities ka to do things and people trust you. But again and again, you don't have to do things alone. And sometimes we tend to isolate ourselves because people like
Mm.
disappoint us. Pero again and again, perhaps by now you already have people in your life that you can really depend on or that can support you din talaga in ways na akala mo they couldn't or in ways na akala mo na hindi mo rin ma-receive if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah, because if I could share, like I remember that one of the one of the reasons why that was a block for you was because when you said I had to be the breadwinner. Like I had to be the breadwinner because it was a role that was just given to me and I just
Yeah.
had to take it. I didn't have a choice. I just had to take up the role, and then you realize that like as you grew up, as you started earning, that's also how you looked at it. That like when
Yeah.
you got into your business, when you got into, other roles in your life, you're like, oh, I just have to be the one to do it all. I
Oh,
have to
yeah.
take it all, and so when you realize that there's actually people that who are willing to help, that's also why like you invested in support for your business, you also invested in coaching and things like that. And I feel that's really what being strong independent is all about. It's like knowing where our strengths and weaknesses lie and knowing
Yes.
that we need to acknowledge like when is the right time to ask for support, to raise our hand and be like, hey, I need help. Like it's
Yeah, that's
okay.
true.
Not when you're like drowning na. Like but there's this meme na parang when you're drowning, you're like, help, like why do we have
Sometimes
to
nga parang
wait?
nag-refuse ka pa rin ng help. Like, parang, ano na yung help, girl, but why aren't you accepting the help? And again, it's like a muscle din na you have to learn.
Yeah, yeah. So in the course of, like seeing that shift where from feeling weighed down by your role and now seeing like who you are beyond as a breadwinner, like that's what I love that you shared na I saw myself beyond just as a breadwinner. So when you saw yourself beyond that, what do you think were the top three lessons that you learned that allowed you to overcome that?
As a parang yun nga parang tendency tuloy na when you're in that role, for example nga sa akin, I was in the I am a breadwinner, and parang madaming nakatayo doon na meaning of like a breadwinner nga like alone or like struggle, those things. Tapos and then I slowly reframed that na okay, being a breadwinner can actually be it only means that you're capable, and then it only means that you're reliable, and it also means na you can choose, like you have now the choice to actually choose na like you can choose to do it with ease, with simplicity, with fun, ganun na things. And again, like asking for help and support when you need to. And then I said na okay, I'm not a new identity right now. If I'm not a breadwinner, what am I right now? And then I realized, okay, it's being a leader. Because when you're a leader, I realized na, okay, it makes sense. Kasi I am a leader as a breadwinner. I am a leader sa aking work as a freelancer. Kasi basically, you're running a business when you're a freelancer. And I am a leader of myself, basically. And I feel like yung all three of those things really helped me like go even deeper in each of those things. There's so much pa, but if I'm a leader in these different things, but it requires me to have boundaries. It requires me then to prioritize myself, it requires me then to have systems in place, have the right mindset and the behavior in place for me to fully to perform or fulfill yung role ko nga as a leader right now. So
Mm.
I would like tie it to just one, nga, being a leader, to those three
Yeah.
different areas of my life.
Yeah, amazing. And it then becomes more empowering that like what would a leader do
Yes,
in this situation? Diba? A
actually.
leader wants to make sure that she's at ease with her finances, that she's in
Mhm.
control of her priorities, that she knows where to set boundaries, how to take care of herself, like it
Yes.
then becomes more your perspective shifts into like, oh, I'm not just this one box. Like I have
Yeah.
different categories in my life that I
Yeah.
can take care of. So that leads to like, okay, so how did you allow yourself to then balance all these different categories in your life, like what you said, for the household, for your own, and freelancing? Because I'm sure that was like, as you said, like one of the biggest things that you really wanted to feel more in control of.
I guess it's also accepting na may days din talaga na you won't able you won't able you're not able to balance these things, and that's all right. Parang you have to give yourself the space then and the compassion na okay, it's all right to like if you want to prioritize more yourself, or if you want to prioritize your work, or if you want to prioritize your family, ganun. But I think if in terms of the finances, like balancing all those things, it's I think it's the being real with yourself na ito ang responsibilities ko sa family, ito ang responsibilities ko for sa work ko, sa freelancing, ito ang responsibilities ko rin for myself. And just knowing that, okay, like when you're clear about what you want for those three things, when I was clear about what I want for those three things, and it paints like such a perfect picture kasi in my head. And once you're clear with that parang bigger picture kasi, it makes it easier then for you to set up the systems then that will allow you to balance na yung pag-fund mo for these three different things. And
Yeah.
it feels more how holistic, I guess. Holistic siya this time around versus yung before nga like like prioritizing the family and then just parang approaching work like a tool lang to earn money, and then parang last thought ka na, or when you do spend on yourself, you feel guilty and you feel so shameful for spending on yourself. Mga ganun na thing. So
Yeah.
it's not like that anymore right now. Right now, I'm just very much clear. It's a holistic na picture na yun. And like,
Yeah.
you help me like sort of like work backwards from that and like form
Yeah.
those systems then. So yeah, and not
Yeah.
those systems, isa lang, one system because you don't have to have many things. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be simple.
Yeah, yeah. And when it's simple, it's easier to stick to and easier
Yeah.
to follow through with. And I like what you said, na work backwards, because like I literally just shared that in like one of my recent videos, na we have to work backwards from the big picture, or else
Yeah.
we're just gonna be stuck with the day to day, and we're just like on autopilot of like, I have to do this, I need to do this, right? Versus like, I know I'm taking the right steps every day financially, in terms of that would lead me to like the big picture that I want for my life. So,
Yeah.
ang daming gusto ko i-dissect dun sa kinuwento mo. Okay, I think one of the things was like how it was important for you to get into the root cause of why that was going on for you. Like why you were experiencing guilt, panic, shame, So how did you define or identify and solve like what really the root cause was, the root cause problem of why you were experiencing those.
Parang may shame ako around about myself, about what I want.
Mm.
Tapos I'm always like reminded na like this voice pa who said this to me sa akin, like nag-echo pa rin siya sa akin yung head, but she would always say na family is family, which of course it makes sense kasi it's such a Filipino trait din naman talaga to always like prioritize and give back to your family. But then parang I ko, for some reason I developed that shame din na parang I'm just so scared to want things or to have like sort of bigger goals for myself, mga ganun. Tapos parang it just trickled down into like an everyday thing na if I want this thing, parang, oh no, I can't have that. Parang, or if I get that thing, then like I would spend on something, parang, oh my God, nag-spend ako on something. Why am I spending on this thing? Like this money shouldn't be for me. This should be for my mom and for my brother, yung mga ganun na things. So it was that thing for me na I feel like yun yung pinaka-root. It's just having so much shame around who I am, about what I want. Ganun. When, yeah, again and again, parang yun yung nag-change, like working with you nga na there's no shame for those things. Like, and it's all right to want things, but as long as you know your priorities, yun na yung okay din talaga. Lalo sa kung in terms of the finances na you don't have yung mga impulsive, let's say, na expenses, mga ganun na things. Like, it's alright to want things, but as long as you know your priorities, you'll be fine, kumbaga. And again, nga,
Yeah.
so kayo na priorities are now yung those three things. At least now I'm included. Yay!
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
yun.
that's an important message in itself, that it's okay to want things as long as you know where your priorities are. There's so many things to want, to like,
Yeah.
to desire, but at the end of the day, is it gonna contribute to the life that you want, or is it just a temporary solution for you to feel good at the moment, right?
Yeah.
So to kind of paint a picture from, our journey together, it's like you really had to look into these root causes of like, oh, why there was this guilt, why there was this panic, why I couldn't ask for help, why it was hard for me to hire people in my business and all of that, because it all boiled down to like the issues from past generations that were passed down to you, and then like right now you get to decide to be like, what if that's not gonna be me anymore, what if I
Yeah.
get to create a different path for myself so that this next generation doesn't have to go through that anymore. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's so important in you being able to like be the first one to like raise your hand and be like, hey, like this shouldn't happen anymore, like I need support, I need help, and it's about time that I get to feel in control of my
Yeah.
finances and therefore my life. So what became possible for you as a result of balancing all those things in your life?
Siguro himay-himayin ko siya dun sa three areas nga na I'm like prioritizing right
Mm.
now. So the first one would be for myself. So right now, for example, traveling, hindi na siya like as scary anymore. And again, if I come across like emergencies, like what happened to me last December, iwan ako sa flight ko, those things. So at least I wouldn't be like scared. Like I know I'm supported by my own financial systems, ganun. And then another possibility naman for my freelancing, nag-hire, like it happened, yung possibility na yun nangyari siya while I was working with you. And I was able to hire a copywriter for my team to, alleviate some of my workload, and I could be able to focus then transitioning aking work from being a digital marketer to now an online business manager. And that's really like a big thing for me, again, to like be able to delegate things and to ask again like someone else's support, and that also opens up many more opportunities for me because of course that's gonna increase my capacity then when receiving mga clients soon. And then the third one that has been na possibility na open up sa akin is pag-renovate ng bahay namin. And kasi that was like a goal na lagi siya nasa head ko, nasa notes ko, like it's everywhere. I've been wanting to do that for years na. And and I attempted to do that, pero parang I was just so scared and overwhelmed by it. Kasi feeling ko nga again, like going back to that idea nga na, I'm alone. Ganun, like if I'm the only one who's gonna fund this, I'm the only one who's gonna manage this, those things. But then like working with you nga, I was reminded na okay, I can always I can be strong, independent, yet still ask for help, ganun. And in this case, I asked help from my partner kasi he's more experienced sa pagpatayo ng mga bahay or pag-renovate. And like, oh my God, like I've known this person for years today, pero ngayon pa ako nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob to ask help from him. And now I'm not scared na rin sa part ng pag-fund niya. Kasi nga again, like now I have systems in place to be able to like save up for it then. Hopefully within this year or probably early next year. So like now it's like nakakagaan na feeling kasi I have these big goals, big dreams, and now it's not as scary anymore kasi nga again, like I have the tools and the support for me to be able to do them, kumbaga.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that's an example of like, it really needs to start like, the work needs to start inner first, like thinking that I'm just a breadwinner, to like I have my own dreams, I have my own goals, and therefore seeing yourself as a leader. And when you saw
Yeah.
yourself as a leader, now you're like, okay, so what do I need to have in place for my business, for my own personal leisure, therefore my family as well. And when you saw that, it was easier for you to simplify the
Yes.
systems, the financial side of things, to make sure that it's going to work for your favor, you know. It's so important that you had to go through that and understanding like the root cause, who you want to be, what you want, what how capable you are of making those
Yeah.
things happen, and how your finances is just like a tool. It's just a
Yeah.
tool for you to feel like, oh, it's achievable. It's something that empowers me to stick to. And therefore, when I see my big goals, I see the steps that will
Yeah.
allow me to get there. And that's why I love what you said. The big goals don't seem scary anymore because
Mhm.
you're mentally and financially prepared for that. And that's why I'm like so freaking excited for you and like how your 2023 is going to be truly. Like I even told Lex like, di ba dapat mag-podcast ka na? Kasi like, I feel like you have so
Ang
many
dami
juicy,
pinagsasabi niyan sa akin. Oh my
diba?
God.
Like, ang dami mong juicy lessons and experiences to share to the world. I have a feeling now whoever is listening can already feel so heard by your story and your message. If you were to think about like what's ultimately the best financial advice you that you could give to your younger self that would have changed her life?
Ang dami, no? Pero siguro top one that I would
Mm.
tell her, or not tell her, siguro ask her. And it's, how can you do a task or a goal with more fun, more ease, more simplicity? Yun. And because I like I feel like my younger self would have needed that question for her to think differently din kasi, and for her to opt out from that thinking na, oh my God, I have to feel the struggle, I have to be in hardship, I have to blah, 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 mga ganun na things. Now, when you can just always choose otherwise.
I mean, honestly, I was one of those people before na parang, oh, it has to be complicated for it to
Yeah,
work. It has to make my head hurt and make me spend long hours for me to feel like I put in enough effort, for me to feel like I deserve the result, deserve the income,
yeah,
you know? Sometimes we choose for things to be hard. Sometimes we
yeah,
choose things to be complicated. But if we pause and ask ourselves, like, how can this be done with ease? Or how can this be simple? Maybe we'll come up with different solutions. Maybe we'll
yeah.
come up with different paths that we haven't looked at before. And I
And
think that
maybe
yeah.
mag-open na different or other possibilities din.
Yeah,
No?
yeah. Any last words to share to the viewers who you feel like maybe are breadwinners and, you know, something that you wish that someone told you?
It's having trust. Tapos realizing kasi na like trust has like three levels to it. Well, that's for me. And then so far it has been working for me. So there's trust in yourself. So when you trust yourself, it looks like, trusting yourself na you're capable, trusting yourself that you can overcome whatever man na block you will encounter, and trusting yourself na whatever you set your mind and heart to on, ano ba ang preposition doon? Whatever you set your mind and heart on, ganyan, you will be able to achieve them. And again, as breadwinners, I think we're so deep in that self doubt. Kasi parang am I doing enough? Am I supporting enough? Am I fulfilling my role? Mga ganun na things. Like am I earning enough? Mga ganun na questions. Like we're so like in that self doubt space when really like you are capable. You have been handled that responsibility because you are capable and you have the resources, you have the skill, you have the talent. So like just trust yourself, babe, basically. And
Mm.
then the next one is like trusting other people. And again, I've mentioned this one earlier, trusting other people and knowing, like learning how to ask and receive support and help. And just try it with one person. And like kahit simple lang siya na favor, like, can you buy me this thing? Or can you pick up this thing for me? Para lang ma-experience mo na, oh nga pala, no, like there are people like this na wouldn't actually be angry at you if you ask for help, and they will actually be willingly be there for you. Ganon. So like just build up those small things until it becomes the bigger things within to ask for help. And then the last thing is trusting in God or the universe or whoever higher being that you believe in. So for me, it's such a like again, like I went through that phase na I was so angry and resentful sa nangyayari sa aking life. And then now, like I got through all of those things, I realized na okay, tama lang yung pala nangyari lahat na yun. Kasi there were so many lessons to be learned in those situations. And so that really helped me, like, take lessons from what has happened. But also when you trust in universe and God or whoever higher being, yeah, you also trust na whatever that you want for yourself in the future, you just know na okay, it's just gonna come. Timing lang ang sometimes mag-set ka ng time or ng deadline or ng like ultimatum sa iyong sarili tapos di siya ma-follow, but it's all right. it's going to be all right as long as, again, you have the systems, you have yourself, you have the people that can support you. Eventually that will, it may mag-change siguro siya ng parang muka, pero andun pa rin yung parang pinaka, what can I say, like pinaka core niya na like need mo doon or value in it. Andun pa rin siya, pero it's gonna happen, it's going to come, ganun. So yeah, like you don't have to rush. You don't have to be ano din, so resentful and angry. Just trust. Baby, trust.
Yeah. If we don't trust ourselves, it's gonna be hard for us to trust ourselves with our finances, with our
Yeah.
goals, with the people around us. Like, so the trust needs to start within ourselves first, and then
Mhm.
from there, like as what you've shared, you see like, oh, everything I went through, there were lessons, and those lessons brought me to where I am today, molded you to the person you were always meant to be. And guys,
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe how old Lex is with so many knowledge. And how old are you again? You said like
Oh
25,
my God. Magta-25
26.
ako this year.
Guys, come on. Like if at 25 Lex is already such a so many knowledge and so many experiences, like I can just imagine who you'd become 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. So
Baka by then
and
may podcast na ako.
yeah, and I'm so excited for our catch up call
Yes.
in 2 months, I believe. All right. Thank you so much, Lex, and I'll see you
Thank you so much.
soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye-bye.